Okay, barely made it. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't live during the Super Bowl, but I'm assuming it's gonna be a little quieter of a live today because of the Super Bowl. Maybe I'll do a poll. Who's rooting for the Eagles? Start a poll. Who do you think will win? Eagles. The other guys. I don't even know who the other ones are. Thank you, Denise. Money for the coffee fund. I really I've been feeling that song, you know, Vanilla Twilight by Owl City, minute 1, second 12. That's where I'm at today. But we're gonna power through. We've got a lot actually in my notes, so let's get into number 61. I want to start with his famous quote. He's still alive, by the way, so that's why we can't say his name, but he is a part of the Brown family. You know the Brown family, the ones that, so we have the Utah branch of the polygamists, and then we have the Idaho branch of the polygamists, and they were sent out there to basically build the farm up. It's a potato farm in Idaho. But they have since kind of progressed into, I remember when I went out there, they had like a little church house that they would have church on Sundays. I'm hearing they do like live streaming of Paul's church sessions over there. So I don't know, it's a little bit more progressed than it was than last time I went there. Anyway, so let's start with his quote, his famous quote. I had multiple people telling me that I should share this about him. There was different versions of this quote, but the gist of it was this guy, number 61, had said, if you guys know the law of one above another, right, in the order, you need to tie into the one above you. So for me, I'd have to tie into my dad, and then my dad would have to tie into, you know, the leadership, and we all have to follow the chain of command and follow the law of one above another so that we can go to heaven. So this guy was big on that, and he said, if the one above you tells you to kill someone or to do something that would make a ripple effect where someone's gonna die, you need to do it. And if the person dies and it wasn't meant to happen, that sin is not on you, it's on the one above you. If it was from God, then you get the blessings, but if it was not, and you don't get does that make sense? You don't get any repercussions because you're doing what you're supposed to by following that chain of command, one above another. They get the sin if you murder someone and it wasn't supposed to happen. So, and a lot of people still believe that to this day in the order. I've had people be like, well, I'm just gonna marry them even though I feel like it's wrong, but I'll get the blessings for it because I did what I was supposed to and I followed the chain of command. And then if it's the wrong person, I wasn't supposed to marry them, then the person who told me to marry them, the one above me, is going to get the bad marks in heaven. Why even have a brain? You know what I mean? Why did God give us a brain if we're not even going to use it? I don't know. To test us, to tempt us with thoughts that we shouldn't be having. Okay. This one is, there's a lot of notes on this one. So let's see, when did he get his number, actually? Okay, he got his number when he was 46. And apparently, so remember how I was telling you guys that Brother Ortel didn't give numbers? He only gave like 4 numbers in his whole time of being alive. But like the leader before him, Brother Eldon, gave out way more numbers, right? He gave it to every single member, and Brother Ortel only did 4. This person was saying that that's actually because Brother Ortel issued numbers, and then those people that got those numbers, they became numbered men, and then they left. And apparently that's like, if you get a number and then you leave and throw that number away, you're going to rot in hell. So this version of this story is that's why Ortel didn't give more numbers, because he didn't want to give them this number and this big responsibility, and then they were going to throw it away and then rot in hell for that. I'm not sure. I mean, I wasn't alive at this time. This is just what I was hearing. But it does make sense, because why did Ortel only give 4 numbers? I don't know. Maybe he just didn't, you know. We were talking about it before. I was like, maybe he just didn't like the numbering system, but that does make sense. He's like, I don't want to jam anyone else to hell for not keeping this number sacred. Anywho, so let's see. Number 61 will be 81 in May. Oh, is he a Taurus? He only has one wife that we know of right now, right? But he did have two wives, but the first one left him. And she had 9 children with him. So he had 9 children with the first wife, but he has 15 total. So 9 from the one that left him, 5 boys, 5 girls, 4 boys, and then 2 who have left the order, 6 from his current wife, 5 girls, 1 boy. So let's get into this. There's a lot in here. There's a story actually about Wendell. So Wendell passed away. I forgot what number Wendell is. I should have done my research on this. I've done Wendell's number before, but Wendell is the reason why we have the Wendell's dances, right? So apparently Wendell married twins, and they are sisters to number 61's wife that he ended up marrying. And Wendell always liked number 61. They were friends until number 61 married this sister, and Wendell believed that he was supposed to marry the twins and the sister. So ever since that happened, there was a rift between those two families. This happens a lot in the order. It happens a lot when it's like a property thing. Like, this was my property and you took it. These women, like even in school, Eskel talked about it, where he was in Ensign. There was a group of boys talking about how they were having crushes, and then one of Paul's kids was like, you cannot have a crush on her because that one's mine, that one's mine, that one's mine. Like, marking their territory. Stupid. Anyways, they weren't friends after that for the rest of forever. He's dead. He took it to his grave. These boys are so immature, you know what I mean? Anyway, so Marion Brown, who's number 4, was, I think Marion Brown is number 61's dad, right? So he was kind of like the original, like trying to start to develop the Idaho farm. And then number 61 kind of helped to develop as well. Number 61 was very like a handyman. Well, he's still alive. Handyman type of guy. I heard that he built his own house from the ground up, like spent like, don't quote me on this, but spent like around $7,000. It's worth like $500,000 now. He was very, very beneficial for the order, especially to run that whole farm. You know, he had his kids running it with him, and they would run it year round. Let's see. Yeah, he eat, sleep, breathed that farm. Like, and I remember hearing, oh, you guys from Idaho worked on worked on Sundays? Like, you just worked through that entire Sunday, but that's how they they could skip church to go work on the farms, because that's how they kept it holy, by working for the kingdom of God, which is an interesting concept, because if you know the history, we come from the LDS from Joseph Smith, and that was always, you know, keep the Sabbath day holy by not working on Sundays, by not going to shop to have to make other people work for you, because that's the Sabbath day. But it's interesting in the order, it's like, you're going to work on Sundays if it's going to be profitable for the kingdom of God, which they did. They would skip church just to keep this farm going. All the Brown families would do this. They would move pipe, do all that kind of like sort through the spuds. All the kids, by the time they were old enough to work, they were working on that farm. He also worked at the mine for a period of time, and he was well respected and a hard worker there as well. Very good mechanic. He has always been kind of a worker bee for the order. He wasn't married till his 30s, and then in his 50s, he took the Sunday school program to the farm and made it the branch that it is, basically. Well, he started it, right? He was never an alcoholic, but only drank a few beers. And that does break order standards. It's funny hearing when the older generation drank, but like a lot of them did. They just try to hide it. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to like sift through what stuff would be. Yeah, he's a very and there was a rumor that the first wife left him because he wasn't a good guy, but from what it sounds like, he was actually pretty kind, at least to his wives. But he's a very very dedicated order member, obviously, because he told the story of like, you need to, if the one above you tells you to kill someone, you have to kill them. Like, a lot of people do believe that. They believe that even if they feel like God's telling them not to, they need to do it, and that's a test that they need to pass. They need to just follow in line with the one above you. So he arranged his own daughters to be married to a 30-year-old man when she was 14. They had their first child when she was 15. And of course, that's not marriage. That's, you know what it is. And honestly, like that must mean they had to have a spiritual wedding, because no 30-year-old can legally marry. I mean, I don't know. I looked up, have you guys ever looked up the youngest ages that you're allowed to get married in America? It's kind of disgusting. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. But so basically, he wanted his little girls to get married to old men, and he was okay with that. A lot of numbered men are okay with this because they're in the order and they do whatever the leadership tells them to do, which means also giving their daughters. Of course, since Paul was the one above him, he believed that Paul's word was the same as law. Ironically, oh, that's funny. I didn't even read through this part. Sorry, there was so much, and I was like, I'm already late for the live. But apparently, let's go back to this. So Paul told him that this young girl needed to be married that young because she was a fiercely independent spirit, and waiting would potentially cause her to fall away. Interesting that we've talked about this, where you see little rebellious women all of a sudden get married or betrothed because they're starting to speak up, they're starting to have a personality, they're starting to see that there's more beyond this cult. So they hurry and get them married and pregnant, so they're stuck. So it's sad that the younger ones that get married are usually the rebellious ones. Anyways, so Paul tells him that he doesn't want his daughter to fall away from the church, right? So of course, he listens to Paul, and this is the funny part. Ironically, she gets married to Wendell's kid. Wendell, the one they had the rivalry with. Funny. This was one of the tipping points for his wife that left him. I think the wife disagreed and didn't like that this little girl, is marrying this old man. So anyway, there's a lot of, I almost feel like I should do a whole episode on this one. But let's see. Let's read one more, and then, oh, sorry, I feel like I've seen you guys popping up with comments. I'm going to come to your comments in a second. At the end of the day, he's a product of the order, right? This guy's a product of the order, and because he believed so heavy on, Brother Paul being the man on the watchtower, is my firm resolve and fixed purpose to give my all to the Lord, time, my talents, all that I am or ever expected to be. What's the worst line in there? It's learn to like to do the things you ought to do. He eats, slept, and breathed it. And so ultimately he was a product of that. Ultimately he ends up putting his daughters through the same type of crap, putting his kids into like being worker bees just like him. The cycle continues. He's not one of those ones that thinks for himself. He's the one that asks Paul to think for him type of person. And that's the perfect cult member. That's exactly what Paul wants. And sadly, he's a victim of this cult. So it is a sad story. This whole thing is really sad, but it's also like, it's good to talk about. It's good to show that, especially when a lot of people are like, why do people join this? Why do people stay? Amanda, how come more people aren't leaving? It's like, this guy was born and raised in it, and he's gonna die in it. He's never gonna leave. Because why? It's like, you don't know what you don't know. Just like why some people never leave their hometown, why some people never get out of their comfort zone, because the demons are more familiar than the angels you don't know type of thing. A lot of people are afraid of, I think it's like a failure, just like that, afraid of going to hell, afraid of failure, so afraid to the point where they're never going to try. They're never going to see what's out there. Anyway, sorry, that got a little sad, but it's the reality of the whole thing. So we have the brown for today is number 61, and then we have I think his brother is number 62. Yeah. So we have a lot. The interesting thing about number 62, I think I've told you guys this. Number 62 is the dad of the first boy that I ever liked in the group. And I ended up like running away to Idaho with. We'll have to tell that story in next week's. But yeah, I always knew who number 62 was because girls are weird in the order. Like if you liked a boy, you would like let's say you liked someone in Daniel's family, Daniel's number is 15. Obviously Daniel's boys don't have any numbers right now because they're too young, so you would like the number 15. So girls would like wear things with 15. If they got engaged to the guy too, they would wear 15, and like it was weird. So I liked the number 62. It was like my email that I still use actually has 62 in it because of it. We'll talk about that next week. Flicker Fade says money over God. Transparent motivations. Yep, I mean, if you guys watched my last video that came out last week, it's very transparent that money talks and Paul listens. Your video is very informative. Thank you, Emma. That one caused me to have some emotional breakdowns. It was that on top of a lot of other things. I feel like I usually can do really well with it, but that one was really hard to edit. It was really hard to, and I even had a few people commenting like, I can't even understand this voice, and I was like, I know, that's the point. I don't want anyone knowing who this is. And it's like, there's more stories that are coming out like that, by the way. But yeah, it's very, very obvious that, you know, why is God directing you to put gold in your basement, Paul? Why is God directing your wives to have their names on their homes but no one else? Why is God directing all the properties go to you? Sounds like it just seems to be benefiting only you. Sometimes I wonder if he even believes in an afterlife. I think that he believes this is the only life, so he's going to take advantage as much as he can. Hi, Heather Weather. You're so sweet. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Calvin Wayman's here. Do you guys... Okay, so if you guys have ever watched Smosh, I actually like loved Smosh when I was younger. Anthony Padilla, is that how you say his name? He now does like interviews. He's from Smosh, but he now does interviews. And I watched this interview from an FLDS boy. He's here. Can we link that video? I thought it was so informative. I thought it was so, like, he was so good at painting a picture and making you understand what it was like to be there. Like, obviously none of us can understand fully without actually living it, but he did a really good job explaining it. And he's here, right here. Do you have a YouTube channel, Calvin? Let's look at this. Go to channel. He does. Wow. Okay. I'm subscribing to you right now. Yeah, if you guys are interested in hearing his perspective, he did a really good interview. Maybe I'll, after I'm done with this video, I will link his video down below so you guys can watch it. And you're welcome to be interviewed on my channel as well. I'm interviewing a boy from the FLDS actually at the end of this month. I don't know where you're located, but... Oh, you're just starting YouTube since the Anthony thing. Oh, well, good luck. It looks like you already got the hang of it, man. When I started, my clickbait didn't look that good. Emma's like, I did say you should collab. Okay, then. It sounds like that's what we're doing. I'd link the video if I knew what you were talking about. Okay, after this is done, I will find the video that I'm talking about and I will link it so that you guys can watch it. It's very, very informative. Did someone donate? Thank you, Mary. Hi, how are you? Mary just posted a new video too. I'm doing good, Mary. Thanks for asking. In the Christian faith, Barbara says, in the Christian faith, you only give 10% of your paychecks to the church. Wait. I thought that was LDS. I thought that the 10% thing came from LDS. Does that come from biblical? Because that's why we signed 10% forms, is because of Joseph Smith. But we got to the point where, I mean, if you watch the last video, 10% forms, inventory forms, you can't own your house. Like, once, like, let's say your mom owns the house, she paid the entire house off, she dies, you have to buy that house back from the order. And if they're nice to you, they'll let you buy it at the buying price that she bought it at. But if they're mean to you, they will sell it to you for higher than what it's worth. And then you will be paying that off your entire life to the order. And then when you die, guess what happens? Those same things. And then your kids do the same thing. It's such a good deal, though. You know what's crazy? In the order, they would always be like, we're so lucky. When you're on the outside, you don't get a place to live like this. You don't get jobs handed to you like this. It's like, first of all, you are getting manipulated into thinking that this is a good deal. Have you ever been scammed before? You have, right now. The end. It's like renting for the rest of your life. I don't know, whatever. Whatever. It is biblical. Joseph Smith ripped it off from Christianity. Okay. Wow. I didn't learn something new. I did not know that. Are you the only person who has left from your family, Calvin? Let's see, what did he say? Other siblings have left too. Oh, that's awesome. I wonder how many. You guys are already interested in hearing this. We should just do an interview. That's awesome. It's always good to hear that they're not alone. It sucks when someone leaves the family and they have to just fight this outside battle all by themselves. You also get all of your life decisions handed to you, LOL. I know, right? And some people love that. Some people love that someone else it takes the responsibility off themselves, then the one above them can just tell them what to do and they never have to use their brain. I don't want to think. I hated that, though. That was the one reason I wanted to get out. I work as a public school teacher, and I know most children from cults go to home or private schools, but are there any warning signs teachers should look out for to help kids in a cult? I wish I knew, because I thought that I was really good at hiding that I came from a cult, and people knew. People just knew. I don't know how they knew. Probably because I would ask a lot of questions about Joseph Smith living polygamy. That's probably what gave it away. But I'm trying to think. At least for order kids, sadly, some of them are kind of malnourished. Some of them are very socially awkward, keep to themselves. That's also a sign of, I feel like, getting bullied, is someone who just keeps to themselves, is scared of other people, scared of outsiders, you know? And a lot of order kids are either bullies or bullied. So I don't know. That's a good question, though. I'll have to think on that and get back to you. Maybe I'll ask around some of my ex-order family members what some because here's the weird thing. I went to the gym. I think I've talked about this on Patreon, actually. I'll leave my Patreon link down below if you guys are interested in like more topics like that we dissect and dive into. I was at the gym with Amanda and I didn't even look at this kid. I saw him in my peripheral vision and I knew he was an order member by the way he was walking, by the way that he carried himself. And I was like, there's order people here. And she was like, what, where? And she's like looking around for them. I was like, see if you can guess. It's like the way they carry themselves, the way that I wish I could explain it. Once you know, you know. And like there's been times too where I'm walking into Walmart and there was like 3 girls walking together, and just by the way they were dressed, I was like, those are order kids. I don't know whose family they're in, but those are order kids. And then they looked at me like they recognized me, and I was like, I think they were Jesse's girls, actually, once I finally gave them a good look. Yeah, I don't know. Is it like that, Calvin, in the FLDS? Where, well, obviously, like, you see the dresses and stuff like that, but can you tell that someone has recently left? I feel like, this is just my perspective, I can tell, kind of, if I'm in, like, St. George area, if there's an ex-FLDS boy, because they always wear it's like they shop at Buckle for everything. You know what I'm talking about? Heather Weather, thank you for the donation. Hello to all the Culty crew and new faces. Welcome to the family. Love seeing the Culty crew growing. Wishing everyone a beautiful week filled with love, joy, and light. Happy Sunday, Amanda. Lots of love. Aw, thank you, Heather. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of new faces here, huh? And Eskel. Eskel's my little brother. He's here. It's crazy how you can spot them out of a crowd. Sometimes I can sense it. I was talking about this, like, I know it sounds weird, but like I was walking into Southtown Mall and I'm like, there's an order person in here somewhere. And then guess what? I ran into them. But they do like to go to that mall. Hi, Ashley. Calvin says, you can. By the way, just some clarity. I wasn't from Warren's church, but the work, which is across the street from Warren's. We were the same church once upon a time and split. Is that the work also known as the Centennial group? Or is the Centennial group another split off? Sorry, that's why I'm confused. Because I'm like, to me, I'm like, you all followed Warren at one point, right? But that means they, so, sorry, I have two questions. One, is it the Centennial group or is that also another branch off? And two, you don't follow Warren anymore? That group doesn't follow Warren anymore? Who do they follow? Who is their prophet? It's the Centennial Church. Okay. So when I went to the crick, we were helping rebuild a house, and it was weird. Like the FLDS ones were like mean to us, but the Centennial ones were nice to us and they were trying to help us. It was interesting. The Centennial group was more progressed. They still wore like modest clothing and stuff like that, but they were more progressed, were willing to talk to outsiders type of thing, whereas the followers of the FLDS were not. And there was worries that like when we were working on this charity project, like rebuilding this home, someone had said they saw a little girl and some little boys that were FLDS trying to put sugar in our tanks, like in our gas tanks. So we had to have someone watching the cars to make sure that no kids were doing that. And we were making this joke like, why are they trying to like stall our vehicles? Don't they want us to leave? Now we're gonna be stuck here if they do that. But yeah, the Centennial group wasn't doing stuff like that. It was interesting. Sorry to have like so many thoughts on that, Calvin. He's like, this is why it's probably good to have that combo. Yeah, to do some clarity and to, yeah, exactly. He says, in some ways can make the thought traps more dangerous in my opinion because it wasn't so bad like Warren's. It was harder to detect you were in a cult. You know, no one calls it a cult when they're in it. That's the reality of it. Like in the order, I didn't call it a cult. I didn't think it was a cult till I left and looked back and I was like, oh wow, I'm still unraveling the trauma. Man, I have so many questions for you, Calvin. Are you in therapy? Because I am. I go 2 days a week. Amanda, when are you going to add YouTube memberships? Would you guys actually use those? I just feel like no one would. If you promise me that you guys think that you will, probably someday, then I will do it. David Smith is here. Hi, David. He's my cousin. I found out Kristen Tucker was from my hometown. Never in a million years did I know that there were polygamists in my town. Oh, yeah. Odds are, like, you just tell me the city you're in and I'll tell you the closest polygamist to you. Thank God for therapy. Oh, good, Calvin. I'm glad. It's just one generation removed. We were all under the same leader at Leroy Johnson. Are you related to the Johnsons? Because if you are, then we're related. Because sorry, I don't know if this is boring to the viewers, but the next video is going to be boring if you think this is boring, because my next video, I'm doing a family tree of how I'm related to Paul, Daniel Kingston, all that. Anyway, so how I'm related to you, Calvin, if you are related to any Johnsons. Price Johnson left your group and came to the order and then had my grandma and then my dad and then me. And I believe Price Johnson is brothers to Leroy Johnson. I may be wrong on that. It was interesting to hear the story though. Like Price Johnson was praised in my cult, in the order. Like he knew that FLDS was wrong and he joined the true church, which is the order. And then when I was hearing from my friend who left the FLDS, they said they had the opposite. They were like, oh, Price Johnson fell away from the truth and went off to the order, which is even worse. It's interesting. This isn't boring at all, LOL. I'm exactly related to the Johnson. Whoa! More so the Barlows, Jessup, Zitting. Okay. I've met Barlows, I've met Jessups, and I've met Zittings. It's interesting though, I feel like there's a lot of Jessups in the AUB group, and then there's Zittings that like splintered from the... This is so interesting. Sorry, everyone's just like watching me discover a new relative, basically. I have so many. Sometimes when I want to like liven up a conversation, like if I notice I'm telling a story and like the person's getting bored, I'll be like, I have over 2,000 cousins. And then I'll just wait for them to respond to that. 2,000, at least 2,000 cousins, at least. And just on my dad's side. I feel like all of us ex-polygamists though, I'm sure you too, Calvin, do that. Like you tell your story and then you just wait for the jaw to drop. In the beginning though, I would be like, what did I say? Like I would just be telling my story and then people would be like, and then I would not understand why they were responding so negatively or so like wanting to cry or like hold me and hug me. And I'm like, what is happening? But now I'm like, I know when the points are and I'm like waiting for their response. Yeah, you could never know your whole family. And that's the crazy thing. I'm like, I wonder how many siblings you have. My dad had 32 kids with 3 wives. And I was talking about this, I was thinking about this the other day, how to have like a healthy child, you're supposed to like hug them, hold them at least 10 minutes a day, right? They need that love from their parent. My mom would have to be hugging each kid for 10 minutes, 10 kids. You know how long that is? Like my dad has 32, that would be his entire day. He doesn't have time to know his own kids, let alone us having time to know our own cousins. There's not enough time in a day. Flickerfade says, you could stop them in their tracks worse than with the I have 2,000 cousins line if you wanted to. Oh, I know. I have to slowly, you can't play all your cards at once. You gotta slowly build it up. Unlike Michelle, is Michelle here? She just goes into the bar, tells the bartender, I'm inbred. Oh, I love Michelle. Is she here? She's not. Emily's here though, and Diana. Thank you, Elizabeth. Celebrate the first super chat from Elizabeth Slayton. Thank you so much. So excited to finally make a live. Hi from Cleveland. Aww. We actually have a lot of people from Ohio and Iowa. More from Ohio though. It's almost like we had family, but there wasn't the ability to create depth with that many. Lots of relationships that are equally shallow. Yeah. Equally shallow. I like that. So I was talking actually though, you're making me think of this. So I'll call people my friends, okay? They're my cousins, but they're my friends. And so I had an outsider be like, oh, you said this was your friend. This is your cousin. I'm like, it is my friend and my cousin. I have lots of cousins. I have so many cousins. This one's my friend, okay? Those ones aren't. Don't get it twisted. So I do, like, sometimes when I'm talking to outsiders, like, because I have so many cousins too, then I'll just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna go hang out with my friend Priscilla. But Priscilla's my cousin. I was thinking about it too. I was like, man, I most of my friends are ex-cult members. I literally only have like, I can count on one hand how many friends I have that are not ex-cult members. I mean, besides you guys. If I count you guys, then I have a lot. And I do count you guys. We never met in person. We will though, when we do a Culty Crew retreat. It's gonna happen. Your scariest cousin, Michelle. We are not worthy. I love Michelle. I have 186 first cousins. Wow. Mormon? Polygamous? What is it? What's your diagnosis? Hey guys, there's 200 plus people, but only like 30 likes. Oh, is this, oh, Sadie Grace Coffee, Cooking, and Life. Oh, you're so sweet, Sadie. Have you, I don't know if I've seen you comment on here much. Is this a time frame that works for a lot of people? I'm honestly shocked that there's 200 people here right now because of the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl is not starting for a few more hours. My family is gone from Bill Gothard. What? Who is Bill Gothard? Bill Gothard. Oh, wait. An American Christian minister. For a second, he looked like a LDS Is he? No. Oh. At the height of Gothard's popularity during the 1970s, his basic youth conflict seminar was regularly filling auditoriums throughout the United States and beyond, with attendance figures as large as 10,000 and more for a one-week seminar. In this way, he reached many in evangelical community from the baby boomer biography. Let's see what the teachings are. Primary teachings are his basic seminar focuses on what he refers to as 7 basic life principles. So here's the 7 basic life principles. The design principle is that people should understand the specific purpose for which God created them. He writes, a person's attitude towards himself has a profound influence on his attitude toward God, his family, his friends, his future. Okay, number 2, the authority principles is that inward. This is like order standards, ABC order standards. A is for appreciation. I appreciate my brother. Authority. God has put it, that the authority into your life is based on the idea that God gives direction. It's another cult. It's another cult. Say no more. Number 3 is the responsibility. 4 is suffering. Oh, that sounds interesting. 4 is suffering. Principle is the people should allow the hurts from offenders to reveal blind spots in their own lives. Oh, okay. I actually think that one is similar to when you get offended when someone says something to you or someone's mean to you. It's one of 2 things. Either you're insecure about something that someone's saying, or they're insecure and they're projecting onto you. You know what I'm saying? Like if what someone's saying is honest and they're just being an honest person over here and it hurts you, what they're saying, then it's something that you need to work on. You know what I mean? But then if they're just being mean and being derogatory towards you, that's a they problem. Sorry, I'm like, can I join this cult? Just kidding. I'm kidding. Number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is ownership. Principle is that this is interesting. I've seen this guy's face before. I didn't know it was that big of a cult, though. The freedom principle is enjoying the desire and power to do what is right. The success principle is when people learn to think God's thoughts by meditating, memorizing scriptures. Interesting. Very similar to the order. The whole, the suffering and learning to basically eat, sleep, breathe for the Lord. But, you know, the interesting thing is a lot of these cults, well, all cults say you are not worthy of being direct lineage of God, so let me tell you what God wants you to do. Money. He wants you to give it to me. Okay, see you next week when I ask for your deed to your house. My best friend was my first cousin. That was me. So my closest friends were my cousins. I only have 3 first cousins and 1 sibling. Can't imagine hundreds and thousands. Thousands upon thousands. My family is gone from Bill Gothard. My dad left. Oh, we just read that one. Writing a list of your family tree helped me keep me track. Yeah, so we're gonna do the family tree. Hopefully it'll be out this week. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get into the entire order. That's gonna be way too confusing for viewers, especially people who are not familiar with these order names. So I think I'm going to stick with the 7 brothers, their 2 sisters, like where they go into line with their parents, LaDonna and Ortel, and like where my dad comes in and where my relation is to them. And I want to show where Allison fits in there, where Michelle fits in there, just so you guys can understand like the bush, the family bush. It's so intertwined. Hi, Amanda. I love your stories. I can't wait for the family tree video. Oh, yay! Thank you, Celeste. Did any of your family ever openly say to you they wanted to leave, Calvin? I bet they didn't. Yeah, see, I have so many questions for him now. We got to put an interview together. Where are you located? Are you in Utah? Calvin? Message me. We'll make it work. You're special and not good enough at once. A very common, especially Mormon cult tactic. Special but not good enough. That's a very good way of putting it. Like, yes, you're special for being able to be chosen to be in this work of the Lord, but you're too stupid to figure out how to get to heaven, so let me just tell you how to do it. So many fundamentalist groups use the exact same methods as the order, only they all have different ways of expressing the same principle to control followers. Yeah. You know what I've noticed too is fear. Fear is in every cult because fear is the easiest way to control someone, because you're not thinking straight when you're living your life by fear. Fear that you're going to hell, fear that your family is going to be damned, fear that you are going to be the reason why your family is damned. So if you can tap into someone's fear, you can essentially control them. So what do we do to not get controlled? Don't live your life in fear. That goes for more than just cults, though, because we can put ourselves in our own cage. And I learned this after leaving a cult, because I'm leaving this cult thinking that I'm free, I'm a bird, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna grab life by the throat, and I'm gonna be so successful. I realize I, without even knowing, put myself in another cage because I was uncomfortable with meeting new people. I was uncomfortable with doing new things. So I put these walls up. I'm not going to try that. I'm not going to try this. I'm comfortable around my own people. Never, like, so in the order you reach this, in the order in the FLDS, in the Centennial group, you have a roof on your progression, and that is all you're allowed to do. Once you leave, you finally break out of that roof, right? But out here, there's roofs that we put on ourselves. And you have to be so self-aware that you're not doing that to yourself, because it's potentially, I talk about this all the time because it frustrated me so much to realize that I had done it again after I had left. And I don't want anyone doing that. If something makes you uncomfortable, if you want to just stay in your comfort zone, ask yourself why. Reflect on that. Because you could be potentially being your own cult leader in your own tiny little cult. Don't do it. Don't do it. Living your life in fear. Don't do it. Hi from Scotland. Hi, Diane. Diane's Weird World. What's it like over there? Is it cold? What time is it? Let's see, where are we at? Ancestry has a tool that will show you what side of your family DNA matches from. I did my DNA match on Ancestry, and that's the one that told me that me and Eskel are cousins, and me and my half-brother are full brothers. Brothers? Brother and sister. Sorry, I'm slow on these comments today. Denise is like, every time you say that. You know what, Denise? I'm going to do it for reals this time. And if I don't do it by the next Patreon live, you can slap me through the computer. We're going live tomorrow on Patreon. Oh, I'll leave that link down below for Patreon for anyone who wants to join the live tomorrow. Denise, I know how to do it, and I will do it. I'll do it for you since you said that. Don't. He's a creeper too. I grew up Southern Baptist and borderline cult. They aren't as aggressive as Westward. I grew up. I was joking about joining the cult. I would never. I would never. But yeah, I agree. You know, that's the sad thing is, like, these people join these cults because they don't think they're cults. And then it's like, gotcha. Calvin, in Amanda's family, they give them a list of men they can marry. Oh, yeah, Calvin, it's gonna be fun filming with you if we do a collab. We're gonna shock each other. It'd be like that Spider-Man meme, like, did you guys do that too? Did your church ever talk about Judaism? I am Jewish and was wondering what you were taught about from the Old Testament and my religion. So we were taught, and this is not me saying it, this is what the group said. I'm sure the FLDS and Centennial, maybe they think differently, I don't know. Maybe Calvin can weigh in on this, but so they said that, well, at least what I grew up learning was that Jewish religion, like their culture, they are so, they don't want to believe that they crucified Christ. That's what they taught us in the order. Jewish people don't want to believe that they crucified Christ, so they're not going to believe that Christ came to earth. So they don't believe in the New Testament. And they have it all wrong. Just like every other church has it all wrong, right? LDS has it wrong because they fell away from the faith. Catholics have it wrong because they think that they, just by repenting in the repentance booth and doing some Hail Marys, that they're going to get into heaven, and that's not how it works. You know, and then of course the racism. If you're not white, you're going straight to hell. All these rules, but for the Jewish culture, yeah, that's the story I had heard. They have so many stories of just, I like, it's like, I say this a lot, high schools that hate other high schools and they talk mad trash on other high schools. That's how my cult was. Just talking trash about the FLDS, trash about the AUB group, trash about Jewish, trash about Catholics, you know what I mean? But you asked, and that's the truth that I heard growing up. Where do you live, Amanda? I've been splitting my time between Salt Lake City and New York City, but I travel a bit, so I'm sure we could do a podcast in person. Well, whenever, let me know when you're in Salt Lake. And that's really cool that you go to New York. You have a place in New York? I love New York. Manhattan, Long Island, Brooklyn. Amanda, I can't wait to see a cooking video. Aw, thank you. I know, I need to stay true to my one video a month that doesn't be mentally draining. Else I just won't film. IBLP is the cult, the Duggar family. My worlds are colliding. Isn't the Duggars a branch off of the AUB? Am I wrong? Just gotta say how much I'm loving Amanda's hair. Did you see my post on Instagram? So you're like, I have to tell her that it looks good because I know she's insecure about it. This is a result of an emotional, mental breakdown. But thank you. I'm starting to like it more. That's a lie. I'm just getting used to it, okay? I want to go, okay, I don't want to go back to blonde, but I want to go a little lighter. Because I look in the mirror and I see my half-sister, and she was always such a bully to me when I was in the order. That's one of the main reasons, because I'll look and be like, oh, that's just me. Yay, I caught ya. Happy Sunday. Yellow, let's go, Chiefs. Oh. We did a poll. Should we end the poll? 51% of you think the Eagles are going to win. 49% think the other guys. I think the Eagles. Should we place a bet? What do I have to do if the Eagles lose? We don't even have to say because they're going to win. Should we end the poll? I'm ending the poll. 51% say Eagles. We're ending it. Because the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Well, so did the other guys. The other guys. I'm going to mention their name. Just kidding. Ultimate unwavering commitment to. Oh, Sam is here. Can we say who you are, Sam? Well, you can assume by Sam Brown's last name that he is related to number 61. He says, they get you to swear your everything to them, then use that and say you swore an oath or whatever else to guilt you into holding your commitment. I think that's also why they're so forceful of you signing that 10% form, signing that inventory form. So when you leave, you feel guilty taking back what's yours because, you made a promise and you're going to break that promise. Promises are such a big deal in the order. I remember the first time someone broke a promise, okay? I remember who it was too. Because here's how you knew someone was lying, especially in our family. We would be like, did this really happen? And then they would say, yeah. Did it really? Are you lying? No. Promise. And then this is how you would know that they were lying. If they were like, I'm not going to promise. Or if they were like, okay, no. That's how like sacred a promise was. And your word was so sacred. I remember this girl, she was in the Stoddard family. And she lied and she promised. And I was like, biatch. Sorry, I don't swear on these lives, or I try not to. Patreon, I'm a little more loosey-goosey. Go subscribe if you want to hear me cuss a little. I got like air in my throat. I knew I should have my water by me. But yeah, Sam Brown is in the Brown family, and I like that point he's saying, swore an oath, like, because your word is so important in the order, and so it makes you feel like a terrible person when you lie and take back your signature, when it's like, in reality, you're a minor, and they're making you sign it every year. It's them manipulating you. But yeah, that's a very, very good point. Wow, we have a lot of people here today. Join the Culty Crew on Patreon, regular live streams and Zoom calls, community Discord, send Amanda a message she's guaranteed to see. Oh, thank you, Flicker. He just sent the link for the Patreon. That is a good point to bring up. I don't think I brought this up on Culty Cup of Coffee. If you guys are interested in Zoom lives, we do Zoom lives on Patreon. It's really fun. We get to face-to-face talk to, it's cool because I get to put like the face to the name, and everyone just chats and we're all friends, which is honestly like my favorite thing on Patreon that we do. Hey Amanda, sorry I'm late today. Ruby, you're tardy. It feels like I'm like a teacher in class. No, I'm glad you're here, Ruby. Do you think the Eagles are gonna win? Say yes. Boudicca. I hate spell check. Jews didn't recognize Jesus as the Messiah. So I was talking to someone actually who is Jewish, and she said that so there's like different opinions in the group, and there's obviously like more what's the word for the there's like more integrated Jewish people and like less, I don't know the word, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Where there's like a more strict version of the religion. Anyway, irrelevant. My point is, she was saying that there's different beliefs on the Messiah idea, and that some people do believe that Christ was a good person, that he had good standards and things, but just wasn't the Messiah and people were led astray or whatever. It's interesting though. I feel like because I came from a cult, I'm like fascinated by all of these ideas and all of these beliefs. I want to go to Jerusalem just to see. I just want to see it. You know what I mean? It's like a seminar training program that has been adopted by many manipulated people. Yeah. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'm ready to see the party in Philly. Sorry, I feel like I'm so behind. Sam Brown says, yes, you can say who I am. I'm fine with it. I need to go back and watch the rest, but I love that you used that picture in the thumbnail. Oh, okay. So Sam is number 61's son. And he was good friends with my older brother in the order. You guys had a band together. So I knew Sam not super well because I was very young by the time Sam was out of the order. But I did remember hearing the story of one of Paul's sons was drowning in this river, and it was up by the farm in Idaho. And Sam, and I think, was it two of my brothers? I need to sleep, honestly, and then use my brain. I should have taken a nap before this live. Can you guys tell? But yeah, it was interesting because a lot of people were so shocked that Sam Brown left, because he was a Sunday school teacher. People looked up to him for their standing and their testimony, to look at him that he had a testimony, right? And he left. We played at your half sister's wedding. The one that I look like with the dark hair. Wow, we have a lot of ex-members here. We got Val Snow here. One time your sister, the bully, helped me divvy out copies of South Park to our friends in the order. Hang on. It was like frozen. Can you see me now? Hang on, let me refresh. Okay. Let me read that again. Val said that they distributed South Park copies to all of our friends in the order, and she took the blame and never ratted me out. Aw, that's nice of her. She loved South Park, and I remember watching one episode of South Park being like, why is she allowed to watch this? She had a little South Park like toy that she put on the antenna of her car. I was like, why is Dad letting her do that? Bad. Why do I keep lagging? Hang on. Am I still lagging? Maybe it's just my computer. But yeah, my sister was very good friends with all of Daniel's kids, I feel like. Sorry, she was a bully. Order kids are mean. That's the thing is, she was so mean to me in the order, but then I look back and I'm like, well, she probably had a really hard life too. Like, looking at who she had to marry and how he just married, like, 2 months, not even 2 months later. Was it 2 months? I don't know. He gets engaged to someone else, and it's like, it's just a sad life. So it makes sense that she would be a bully. Sam says, we did sometimes, but honestly, I don't think it was ever a serious designation. Sometimes we did, sometimes not. Their band, though, Sam Brown's band was pretty good. What was the name of the band? Did you have a name of the band? Exactly. Jews think Jesus existed, but was just a man, not the Messiah. I am not really religious, but I'm culturally Jewish. I do, however, have cousins that are beyond Orthodox. They are okay. That's what the word Orthodox. So there's the Orthodox and then not Orthodox. But then there's like the, I don't know. Some people say that there's a tradition where that like a woman has to convert to marry, like you or you have to be like two Jewish people getting married. And I'm sure that also depends on like how deep into it you are. Where does that stem from? Keeping the bloodline pure? Just kidding. That doesn't make sense because if you can convert someone, then that's different. We always said my other mom and brother from another mother. So Sam, oh sorry, I don't know if you know who Calvin is in the chat. He's in here, Calvin Wayman. He came from the Centennial group, which is a little branch off of the FLDS group. So we were talking about basically his upbringing. I'm hoping to do a collab with him. But it's interesting, that's the difference between the order and the FLDS, right? Is that I didn't call the first wife my mom or the third wife my mom. They were not my moms, okay? I would say, like what he was saying, brother from another mother. I didn't even say my other mom. Like, I would just be like, that's my mom's sister, that's my dad's sister, and they're all married to him. But in the FLDS, they would say moms, like all my moms, and they would all live in the same house. Maybe not all of them, but like Marianne Barlow, when she left the group, like she said that's how it worked. Like, all the wives lived with the husband under the same roof, and they called them moms or mother. So it's interesting though how I would call my brothers my half brothers, and then people would be like, you don't cut your brother in half, don't call him your half brother. And I'm like, what he is, okay? Except not according to Ancestry. They're my full brothers, apparently. Sam, have you ever done a DNA test, I wonder? Also, you as well, Val, or David Smith. I'm wondering how we all need to get together and just see, like, the weird, because there's so many, like, intermixings and, like, incest going on in a lot of our genealogy. I'm missing how they are talking about the Duggars, but they are Baptists and follow the IBLP, very much a cult. They follow the umbrella of authority. They have arranged marriages too. I feel like every polygamous cult does the arranged marriage thing. Like when you can't date and they're so possessive over the women, they're not going to let anyone touch their property. The band's name Exalted or something like that. I honestly don't remember the band name. Remember there was a band in the order called Facing North? Your guys' band was better than them. I'm gonna say that right now. David spent a summer in Idaho. Yeah, I helped on the Idaho farm for a little bit. I wasn't allowed to stay there without like my parents there though, because I had a crush on one of the boys and he was not who I was supposed to be marrying. Calvin says people think there are victims and perpetrators, and there are, but really there are victims and victims who victimize victims. It's a death cycle. It's true. Here's the thing though, like, because I for the longest time was like, my mom's just a product of the order, she's a victim too, but there came a point where she left and went back, and she chose to go back to this sad abusive cycle, and she chose to put her kids in that too. So I'm like, at what point do we hold her accountable for choosing to put her kids back in this abuse, for seeing it and pretending to not see it? You know what I'm saying? For choosing to go back to her husband, choose her husband over her kids. Yes, she's a victim of it, but at what point do we hold her accountable? And like, to me, maybe Paul, the leader of my cult, was a victim at some point in his life, but he is how old now? He is definitely taking advantage, and he knows he can, and he's drunk with power. He's a perpetrator. He's a perp. He has all the control. He's not a victim. Hey, on Escaping Polygamy, did y'all ever figure out who the outsider was, or did they ever get out? Who the outsider was? Bish, what are you talking about? Are you talking about insider? Exalted? Is that what the name was? Exalted? That's funny. I like that. Some Catholics and other religions are like that with marriage. Very strict with it. Oh, did we get a donation? Thank you, Flinker Mary. I was just wondering if you and your cousin And Amanda 2.0, put you guys' artwork into a show. We did do a charity event type thing where we were selling our art. Well, I was selling my art. I was selling my Culty Crew shirts, my Have You Seen Kyle Grant shirts at this event. But we also do have them on my website as well. I'm running out though. I think all of my paintings sold out except for the mystery art. You can still buy mystery art, and 70% of that goes towards holding out hope. But yeah, I need to put some more up. Thanks for reminding me, Mary. I gotta keep painting. I gotta keep painting. Thank you for the donation, BD Lexin. Happy I caught a live for the coffee fund. Thank you. I will be using that after I'll take a fat nap after this. I've heard that name somewhere before, Facing North. Wonder if they're on YouTube or somewhere. Oh, they probably did put some of their music on YouTube. But yeah, Facing North is the name of the band, and they actually had CDs and they sold them at family stores. But, I mean, you guys know why it's Facing North, right? Because we would pray facing north. Sam, does that mean you guys would pray facing south in Idaho? Because the holy spot was in Bountiful, and Idaho's north. So then that would mean you guys would you guys face south? Is he still here? Hello? I remember when we'd go on vacation, it always sucked because I'd be like, well, which way is the right way? It's not always facing north. It's just facing north in Utah. Oh, he's talking to Calvin. Calvin and my family, each wife had her own house, separate last name. They were very secretive. Oh, Calvin. We have so much to talk about with this. We have fake last names. My name, Amanda Grant. Grant's fake name. Kyle Grant on my birth certificate, my father. Don't even know a Kyle Grant. Fake. Yes, we face south. Oh, that's funny. I think I've talked to you about this before, but I that's so interesting. Facing south. Because it was where the holy spot was. Wow. Okay. We're doing a collab with Calvin, it sounds like. Whoa, Calvin has a direction when you pray thing too. This is so effing wild to see the similarities even though they were separate. So my belief, okay? My belief is we all had to have known each other before the cults all started, right? And then, you know, the order was like, we don't want to join the FLDS, you know, we're going to stay over here and do our own thing. And then, you know, Warren's group was like, well, we want to go over here. AUB group decided to go over there. I don't know why they didn't just all stick together and try to work together. I feel like there was like, oh, well, I had direction that I'm supposed to have the keys, whatever. But what do you face, Calvin? Fake name, so fool the government, right? Yeah, get out of paying child support. So Kyle Grant's on my birth certificate, don't know one, but they found a Kyle Grant in Utah and demanded him to pay child support. And he's like, I don't have 10 kids. And they would tell this joke as kind of like a funny joke in the family, but it's like, that is illegal. Excuse me, sir. But yeah, if you want a shirt that says, have you seen Kyle Grant on it, I sell those on my website. I will put those links in my description box after this. Whew. We were supposed to face Bountiful because it's the holiest place on earth. Yeah, that's where the keys were giving to Brother Eldon in that cave. Was it a cave? There's a cave that you go into now. Like, they do these little field trips. I'm pretty sure it was the cave that he got the keys from at the holy spot. You're supposed to take your shoes off when you go in because it's, like, super holy. You know what I'm talking about? I grew up in Riverton, so we faced north to face the Salt Lake City Temple. Did you guys believe? Because, okay, so I've heard this from some LDS people that the second coming, Jesus Christ himself, our Savior, is going to, sorry, does that sound, that sounded a little condescending. I didn't mean it to sound like that. But I just don't like this story. They believe that Jesus Christ is going to burst out of the east-facing doors of the Salt Lake City Temple when he has his second coming. Do you guys believe that? And why would you be facing the LDS temple? Don't you guys believe that the LDS temple fell away from the true teachings? That's interesting. We face north to face the LC temple. The Centennial group has branched to Riverton? I met people from the Centennial group in the Crick. I didn't think that they moved further than that. When praying, we are expected to turn our backs on facts. I like that. In my community, everyone prays towards the cathedral full of stolen money. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Why is every religion starting to just together? Stolen money, underage women, facing north, denying things that are true. At Mormon temples, you have to wear white iston or slippers. Well, and you can't go into a Mormon temple unless you are worthy, right? Temple recommendation type thing. That's one thing. The order didn't do temples or sacrament. I think they do sacrament now, but they didn't do it when I was growing up there. There are sibling DNA tests. Many people have found through ancestry DNA that affairs, adoptions, and siblings that got pregnant with grandparents. That's the thing is though, I just need to do a whole video on that, man. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This has been fun. Please read the Bible. It tells all about Jesus and his second coming. It is all laid out. Oh, I know that. I know that. I know that because they made us so afraid of the second coming in the order. I wonder if they did this to you, Calvin. We were so afraid of the second coming, like you had to be ready, you know, and like people were going to be begging to be in the order when the world is on fire and the gnashing of teeth and blah, blah, blah. He's going to come like a thief in the night, right? So you'll hear the trumpets, da da da. I still get like nightmares of the second, not the second, well, yeah, like the end of the world, because they would talk about it like it's going to happen in our lifetime and we need to prepare for it. I think a lot of cults do that. Again, another fear tactic. But I think, I mean, whether you believe in the second coming or not, I like the version of it where there are some people that believe in the second coming, but they're excited for it. They're like, we're going to be fine, rather than we need to repent. Does that make sense? I guess the temple is still the temple, even if it's heathen hands at the moment. Yeah, I remember we did do Sunday school girls class, like a girls field trip to go walk around the temple, and they would tell us a story about how the temple used to be pure white, like a pearl, you know, it was white, 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 white. And as soon as they abolished polygamy and they stopped living polygamy, the stones turned gray. And they'd be, Amanda, don't you think those stones look gray? Better live polygamy, or your heart's gonna turn gray. I was like, oh no, that checks out. Thank you for the donation, Joshua. They got mad at you for asking questions because they didn't know the answers themselves. And also, they're insecure, petty tyrants. Period. So, I feel like that happened a lot where I would ask a question and then they wouldn't know the answer. So guess what their answer would be? You need to not question God. Questioning God is a sin. So, okay. So I will just blindly follow like everyone else, I guess. But yeah, I would ask, like, how come you get to have multiple biatches and I don't get to have multiple husbands? Like, what? That unfair? Well, because that doesn't work that way. It doesn't work like that. Why? Because you need to populate the earth. Well, at this rate, we have a lot of single men now because you guys are taking them all. You're taking them all for Paul. None of it makes sense, but it makes complete sense to someone who wants to blindly follow. And that's the thing, is you can't convince someone who doesn't want to be convinced. You know what I mean? You can show them the evidence that proves it's false, and it's just gonna further prove they're right because they believe they're right. You can't. They have to want to actually know the truth. So in order to catch Patreon lives, you have to get upper tier membership. No. We do so every Monday we do lower level, and then it's kind of sporadic to do upper level. Upper level is just the ones that get deleted, where I talk about things that I'm like, I don't know if I want this on there forever. But yeah, we get into the dirty secrets and details of my life, and then we delete it forever and never talk about it. Anyway, so yeah, to answer your question, we do it on both levels. What? We do lives on both levels. Shut up. By the way, Amanda, this is why there are so many split-offs. Joseph Smith created a precedent when he created the Mormon Church on the importance of true authority. All the split-offs are about that. That's the thing, is it's like everyone wants a piece, right? Like, it's so easy to convince these people, because how do you convince someone to do everything for you? You tell them that their salvation depends on it, and eternity. What's one minuscule second here, right? It's like a second. It's like not even a second compared to eternity in the afterlife. So just sacrifice your all to me, and I'll guarantee you a ticket to heaven, you know? And if people fall for it. It's so dumb. And here's how you know you're in a cult, okay? If they want you to trust them over yourself, if they want you to trust a human being over your own connection to whatever it is you believe in, then you're in a cult. You should not have to trust someone else to give you something that you're supposed to naturally have, right? A natural connection. Someone else doesn't, you're not born and someone else just has that more than you, and you need to rely on them for testimony. That makes no sense. In the order all the time, though, they'd be like, you can build your testimony off your father. No, you can't. The whole no questioning thing doesn't make sense either, because how do you learn in school? You just never ask questions and then you're just going to know? No. That makes no sense that you're going to have a testimony when you never question anything. Then it's a false testimony. Preaching to the choir over here. You guys are like, I know. Tell it to the older member in the back. Sorry, I feel like, Sam, I wish you came here earlier because we were talking so much about number 61. If you want to add anything, you want to add any stories, now is your time to shine, Sam. The last creature to discover water is a fish. The last person on the planet to discover a cult is a cult member. It's true. I have to subscribe to Patreon. I need more lives in my life. Oh, yes. Yes. I will be more consistent in the next week. So if you want to subscribe to have like a lot of lives, next week we're going to be boom, 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 boom. We are going live tomorrow and on the lower level, and then we should be going live again on the upper level this week. So you'll get 2 lives. Those lives go for a long time too. One time we had a live where I was literally live till like 3 in the morning. It was when I lived in Vegas. Whew. Thank you, Emily. She just put the link to Patreon. Thank you. You're so sweet. Did we get another donation? Thank you, Mary. If Paul and Daniel got a lot of women, what if women stop having kids? Is that what you're saying? What if women have to? So, you know what I noticed is it's like a competition. Thank you for the donation, by the way, Mary. It's like a competition with the wives, like who can have more kids. And if you don't have as many as this one, it's like a shame. Like, shame on you. This person, Paul's first wife has, I believe, 18 kids. And it was the record for a long time in the order. 18 kids from one woman. Now we know, number 69, Daniel Jr.'s wife has the record of 20 kids, I believe. 20 kids. But yeah, it's like a competition. It's like if you don't have kids or you have trouble getting pregnant, even if it's the man's fault, they always blame the woman, and you're like a broken tool because that is all you're good for. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know. That's all we're good for. Making babies, working for the kingdom of God, and then dying. With nothing in our name. Not even our own husband's name on our kid's birth certificate. These people don't read the Bible for themselves. What you're saying, Amanda, is exactly right. You have a direct connection to God. You can speak to him directly and seek him. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's all these other ways to find out you're in a cult, but the easiest way is if your leader, prophet, whatever you want to call the person that gets up on stage, tells you that you cannot receive that without going through them, they are lying and they're trying to control you. Simple as that. Why keep knowledge from someone if not to control them? Knowledge is power. So if you cut the cord of them receiving it, you have the power. My throat hurts from talking so much. Sometimes I'm like, you guys want to see more lives? You guys like seeing more of this? Like, I feel like at this point I would pay to shut this girl up. Well, I know shut up. Some people in order would. There are a lot of people that would. I'm still here, though. Still kicking. Did Sam say any stories or anything that he thought would be interesting to add? I'm looking for Sam's comment right now. I don't know if he's still here. Maybe he stepped out. Val says, I was just looking at my birth certificate. LOL, so fake. Who's Steven Snow? Those Kyle Grant shirts are comfortable. I love mine. Aw. I'm so glad. Yeah, so Val's dad is Daniel. Daniel Kingston, number 15. Is Daniel on his birth certificate? No. Steven Snow is on his birth certificate. Do we know what Steven Snow? Well, is there Steven Snow? No, there's not Steven Snow. I always did like, though, how we did the fake names, because if we didn't do the fake names, there'd be tons of Kingstons, and it would be so hard to tell, right? And the cool thing is, the Snows are the only Snows in the order. You know who the Snows are. The Grants are the only Grants in the order. You know who the Grants are. They might have a bad name now, but you know who they are. So I kind of liked that we got to, like, that was something that was like, oh, if I'm a second wife, I get to pick my name. Okay, Bradley Cooper it is. Mrs. Cooper. Someone already did that, actually. I was like, dang it. Depp. Amanda Depp. No, I feel like that's something Rachel would do. She'd be like, Rachel Depp. D-E-P-P. And then name her kid Johnny. D-E-P-P. These people don't read the Bible. I'm trying to see if Sam said anything. Did he say anything? I think he's gone. And just like that, he's gone. Who was that guy who got pulled over with a bunch of his underage wives in the trailer? Bateman. Sam Bateman, right? Was it Sam Bateman? Yeah. They caught him with all of these, like, younger... And the sad thing is like, didn't the mothers know, too? It's like, how can you, as a mother, be okay with that? It's so sad. If you really want to be shamed, get found out for having pulled... Yep. Don't even use the word condom in the order. Don't even. You'll go straight to hell. It's illegal. Can we just acknowledge how positive Amanda's attitude is given such a horrible subject matter? I feel like some people think that, like, they think I'm joking because of the way that I don't, like, cry about it. But it's because, just like that, I'm sure you're the same, Calvin. We're all the same. Like, we lived it. That is our life. Yes, we've cried about it, but we can't cry about it every single time we talk about it. And sometimes it's, like, refreshing to be able to laugh about it. Like, yeah, my dad has sex with his sister. So those kids, because their mom is their aunt, because their mom is their dad's sister, and then the dad is their uncle because their dad is their mom's brother. So they are each other's siblings, but also cousins because they're kids of the uncle. And they're their own cousin. It's silly. So silly. Amanda doesn't live in Utah. I'm sure she will contact you. Yeah, I don't live in Utah, but yeah, he says I'm gonna bounce soon. But yes, Amanda, I am, so we can connect sometime. Are you in Utah? I go to Utah a lot. So yeah, message me. Let me know when you're in Utah again. We can work something out. Are you still in Riverton? Let me know. Weird question, but do men wear wedding rings because they must have really long fingers if they do? They do wear wedding rings. Not for each wife. Like, this wife number 1, wife number 2, you'll just see them with one. And the funny thing about engagements in the order is when they're engaged, the woman wears the ring and the man wears the ring usually. So in their engagement photos, they're both wearing rings. And I didn't know that in the real world, the man gets the ring on the wedding day. I didn't know that. That was never told to me until I ended up getting married. People were like, why is he wearing a ring before you guys are married? And I was like, what? Actually, Escaping Polygamy filmed a scene like that where I'm talking about it, and they're like, how come he wears a ring and you're not married yet? And I was like, to me, the question sounds like, why is 1 + 1 2? You know what I mean? Like, it didn't occur to me that it wasn't supposed to be that way. Is it not? I think that's why they cut it, because they're like, this girl sounds so dumb. That's what therapy was for LOL. And yes, also where I got into comedy to talk about it, makes the light of the ridiculousness. You know what's interesting though is I feel like some of the greatest comedians have a very dark past. And to be able to turn that into something kind of like comedic, I don't know. I would love to see one of your comedy skits though. Where do you talk at? Do you guys know that? So I interviewed Emily Tucker. She did stand up and talked about the order and how she came from polygamy. Man, I wish I would have like went to one of those and filmed it for you guys. Make sure to give this video a like if you haven't. Aw, thank you, Heather. I probably should be leaving soon because Eskel's gonna want to have time for his live before the Super Bowl too. Not in the work because wedding rings meant I'm taken. Women were taken, but men were. Ain't that the truth? Women are always taken and always man's property, but ain't gonna tie no man down. Ugh. Wow, so men didn't even wear rings in the FLDS. Ugh. Thank you, Mary. You're doing a Utah series on your channel? That's really cool. All right, I'm gonna read the last few comments. I guess we're doing a collab with Calvin. Thank you for all of the ex-members who added to this episode. It was very informative. Utah members face north to the holy spot. Idaho order members face south to the holy spots. And apparently, some FLDS members face the temple when they pray. Didn't know that. Learning something new every time we go live. Check out the Honeydew podcast on YouTube. Comedians talking about all the dark. Okay, that sounds like it's up my alley. Thank you, Fran. Thank you for that. XLDS is so funny and doesn't avoid the dark subjects. Not for everyone, but I love it. I like that stuff. I like when people can get down to the... not tiptoe around it, as long as they're not being like offensive. If they're talking about their own life though, like how can you be offensive? That was your own, you lived that, you know. I'm doing a show in April in Boise called the Jack Mormon Comedy Hour. It's just a big comedy event in, wait, when? 200 ex-Mormons, it's like 3 years of therapy in one night, so healing. Wow. In April, okay, that's cool. That sounds awesome. Okay, I'm like falling asleep now. I need to go to bed. I gotta go to bed now. But maybe I'll join Eskel's live like for like 2 seconds and then I'll go do what Denise told me to do and then I'm going to bed. Thank you guys so much for showing up, even though it's Super Bowl Sunday. Let's cheer for the Eagles because we know they're going to win. Just kidding. I'm not even that big of a fan of football. I just hate the Raiders and I like the Eagles, the end. Okay. Hope you guys enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Go pop in and say hi to Eskel on his live. And I will see you, the Culty Crew members, tomorrow on Patreon. And then I guess whoever's not on Patreon next Sunday. Love you guys. This was really fun. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye.